Welcome to Fade the Public. This is your host, Leo Herrera, on a mission to spread the truth.
Let's work. Yo, it's go time, showtime, never backing down time. One shot, yo, make it count, yo.
So I'm here today with Brandon Canesi. This guy plays golf with no hands. 30 years old, from New Jersey, inspiration for everybody. Brandon, thanks so much for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Leo. Appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you, bro. And you have a very inspiring story for a lot of people to take a lot of inspiration from, and I really want to get straight to it. I want to get straight to kind of how it was for you growing up as a kid with your limitations. Can you talk us through like how your life was? I mean, I'm sure it wasn't easy.
It definitely, it had its hard times, but for me, I was never different growing up as a kid. I mean, I knew and I felt and I saw that I was a little bit different, but I used that. I've always kind of used that to my advantage. Everywhere I went, even when I was a little kid, people would be looking at me because maybe they were hesitant into what I was doing. They were trying to watch me and make sure I was okay, or they were curious as to what my situation was, whether it was kids that were staring at me or this, that, the other. But I always just kind of use that to my advantage. Is they're looking at me, so let's give them something to look at and do my best.
Yeah, and it definitely built your personality. Now knowing you as today, like you're such a composed guy, confident dude, like, and your personality. I mean, he plays golf. He's a super good golfer. Was a member of the Ryder Cup, like for the disability organization. What is it called?
Adaptive tour. So we're called adaptive golfers. I mean, you can say disabled golfers. You can say, but that's more of a negative.
Yeah, I don't like that
vibe to it. Disabled means that you're not able to do something or this or the other. But adaptive golfers implies that you're overcoming your limitations.
I like it. Adaptive golf.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like I said, you're a super good golfer. I played with you today. Like it's just like it's so inspiring to watch you like just play like you're just a normal golfer. Like, you really just.
To me, it's golf. There's nothing different. My clubs are different to everybody else, but I've always swung the same way. When I was a kid, that's how I naturally grabbed the club and tucked underneath my arm, and that's how I swung. And I grew older, and I grew bigger, and my clubs grew bigger with me. And it doesn't feel any different for me. It's all a mental aspect. The game of golf is all mental. So if you're willing to not care, put your head down and just hit the shot, then anyone can do it. Anyone can hit that shot.
Yeah. So I'm sure in the beginning of your life, like you're probably a little self-conscious of like what you had, and like how did you overcome that? I'm sure like it wasn't like something you did overnight. Like it was definitely something
It was. So there was times maybe where I was self-conscious about it, but. To be honest, like I've just been very positive on like my entire life. I didn't think that I had an option. It was, all right, here you are, and this is what you got. But go do it with what you got. There's no reason I can't do it. A quick little story, real quick, and my favorite story my grandfather told me is when I was 1 year old. I'm playing with some toys. I had a ball in my left hand, or my only hand, claw. And I'm holding it, I'm trying to pick something up with my nub, and I couldn't pick it up. And he's watching me. And I took the ball, I put it in my arm, and I held it like up against my chest, and then I picked up the other toy, and I walked away. And he said from that moment on, he knew, I'm going to be all right. And that's just a perfect representative of like, adapt, find a way, whatever it is, however you need to do something. There's 1,000,001 ways to get a job done. And as long as you're willing to not listen to the negative thoughts, the negative people who try to pull you down, the people that try to baby you and say you can't do this or let me help you with this. I was always very independent. I wanted to, if someone thought I couldn't do something, I was going to prove to myself and to them that I can do it, and that I can do it better than you would ever anticipate me doing it. So
that's such a good trait to have, to be so adaptive. I mean, so many people back home like could just be struggling, just not even from a physical limitation, just mental stuff that they have in their head that they can't get over. And it's like seeing someone like you, it's an inspiration because it's like, like you didn't even like think differently. It was like, this is what I got, and then like I'm gonna deal with what I got and like make the best out of this.
I definitely, I have the mental limitations as well. With my situation, this, that, the other. I think everybody battles depression, a little bit, some more than others, some wear it on their sleeve, some you can't see it. I've definitely been down. I've been super low, but I've also been super high, and it's all about just staying in the fight. Keep your head down, even though when times get tough, you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. But times are tough for a reason. You're there to learn a lesson. You're there to prove to yourself and to build character. And once you come out of it, and you're a better person because of it, it'll all make sense in the end. But it's just about keeping your head down and fighting through it.
Yeah, it's so powerful. I mean, building your character, it's those tough situations like bring it out of you.
Yeah.
It's all about that.
Yeah.
And what do you feel like, what do you feel like you were here to do on this planet? Like, do you feel like you were here to be an inspiration for people to, battle their limitations and say, I'm just going to do this?
So the time that, first off, it's very rare in a person's life, anyone, however many people are on the planet, to get the feeling of that what you're born to do. Not many people are blessed with that feeling. I've had that feeling multiple times in my life. It started for the first time. I remember this one time I was just playing golf with my brothers and a couple of my friends back home, and I was playing really well that day. And this is, maybe just when I started hole high or something. It might have been like 2015, 2016. I'm just playing really well. Beautiful day out on the golf course. And I'm just kind of looking around, looking at the trees, looking at just the sun, the clouds and everything. And I just felt like this is what I was born to do, like play golf. A person with no hands has no business being on the golf course. And back in those days, my good days were low 80s, something like that, shooting in the low 80s, beating my friends. And, I was like, there might be something here. This might be what I was born to do. And I don't know how I'm going to go about it, but I'm going to make it my life. Fast forward a little bit, down the road, I find myself as an ambassador for the USAGA, which is the United States Adaptive Golf Alliance. And I was invited to be a coach on the range of the Shriners Open at TPC Summerlin out in Vegas. And we put on a clinic to 25 Shriners kids, the ambassadors for the different hospitals from around the country and even the world. There was different countries there as well. And I show them how I do it. I show them how I adapt, and then I put a club in their hands for the first time. And these are kids with different types of disabilities, different backgrounds, different stories. But I show them how I do it, and then show them what to do. Their faces absolutely light up. They fall in love with the game of golf when they run up to me after and say, I can't wait to go home and practice and be like you when I grow up, and I can't wait to fall in love with the game of golf so I can go home and play with my dad finally. He wants to play. Like, that stuff just absolutely filled. I mean, my heart was pounding through my chest that day. Like, it brings up tears when I think about it every time. So that's what I think I was born to do, is just inspire others to overcome your limitations, be a role model for anyone, especially kids and people who are going through tough times, that if you're willing to just get out there and adapt and find a way, you can do anything you set your mind on. And I didn't really have that when I was a kid, even though I didn't really need it, but I think that it would have really impacted me in a huge way if I would have had someone that I could look up to and see that they're doing something with what they've got, so I could do something with what I've got. That's very impactful, and
wow, it's so amazing, dude. That's so cool. Yeah. And I really hope you can really keep doing this, because the world needs people like you. Needs inspirations by being an example. You're not really doing anything. You're just being
doing what
you.
I love and playing the game of golf.
Exactly.
And it's really just it's not just about golf. Even though golf is my life and I love it every aspect of the way. It teaches you so much and it grows you as an individual. But it's doing what you love, painting.
Yeah.
There's so many different kids that if you're going out there, but you're interested in something, you think you might be good at something, but you don't know how to go about it, just get started. Whatever it is, just go for it.
Yeah, and like you said before, to me it's always been like that with golf. Like, ever since I started, I felt like this is just what I need to do.
Yeah.
This is what I have to do. It's just that feeling.
Yeah.
And
deep down inside something's telling you this is where you're supposed to be, and this is the route. It's just what are you gonna do with it? How are you gonna get there? And
yeah, and for me, I've always seen it as like a vehicle to like self-realization in a way.
Yeah.
It's such a peaceful game that we can make very unpeaceful.
Yeah.
But I've seen it, like, since it's so challenging and like mentally, hard.
It'll
Like,
break it down.
Yeah, it'll definitely do it, and it really shows your character. It really shows who you
If
are.
you want to know somebody, go play golf with them.
I tell that to
best
everyone.
job interviews or the best anything like that.
That's
If you want to
facts.
be friends with somebody or this that the other, go play golf with them. You know, you'll see their habits. You'll see whatever.
Yeah.
If they're a cheater, a quitter, a liar. If they know how to have a good time, but maybe drink a little bit too much, or like whatever the case is, gambling. It's all fun and games, and you can be whoever you are. That's perfectly fine. But like golf, I mean, you could take it as serious or as not serious as you want. There's competitions. You could be a junior, you could be a woman, you could have no hands, you could be blind. I don't even want to talk about blind golfers. Absolutely incredible.
That's insane.
Yeah. But the game of golf it's for everybody. You know what I mean? You can have somebody like John Daly out there ripping it and with his body type, and then you got
ripping darts on the course, not caring.
6 Diet Cokes and 12 cigarette packs and Big Mac.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to get into Whole High.
Yeah.
What inspired you to start that, and how has it been? How has that journey been since you have started it?
So Whole High, I mean, I started it as a way to just brand myself, because when I built my first set of clubs with me and my uncle Bert built my first set, it got me out there and it allowed me to be out there with my friends and family, but the quality of the clubs, the equipment wasn't very good. We built another set using lighter materials, this and the other, and my game got amazingly better instantly. And that's when I really fell in love with the game. And I started, everywhere I went, my clubs would turn heads. Everyone, they're like, what is that? Or, oh, your clubs are falling out of your bag, and they try to push them down or something. Or they're like, what are you, a trick shot guy? Or I don't know.
For those of you that don't know, his clubs are almost as tall as him.
They're pretty long, they're pretty long. So everywhere I went, they turned heads, and that's why I always got this feeling of, I'm pretty unique. This isn't something that is out there or that people have heard of. But they see my clubs, and then they're like, what's that? And I would say, I was born without hands, and this is how I hold the club. And they're like, oh, good for you. You're out here. Like, good for you. But then I strike one down the first tee, and they're like,
yeah,
I'm not playing against that guy.
The first time I played with you, I was so impressed. I was like, wow, you can do that. It's so crazy. People, take so much inspiration, but also see okay, the human being is capable of so many things. Just by you see someone do something, it makes you more capable of doing it. And that's why I said I think we need more people doing this world.
So I made it whole. I started a foundation for myself. It was a registered 501c3, and that was basically so I could and I built social media platforms off that so I could share my message with the world. Whole High's message of inspiring others to overcome their limitations. Just started posting golf videos. I think that was back in either 2015 or 16, and just posted videos every time I went and played. I was working regular 9-to-5 jobs, and every time I could go sneak out after work, or I played I was a weekend warrior. Golf, book it on Golf Now, and go play every weekend.
And what inspired you to name it Whole High? Why Whole High?
Really, it was just we had a brainstorm, sit down with me and my brother, and we were just going through golf terms, just trying to find something catchy. And we were going through the definitions of golf and this, that, the other, and we came across Whole High. And we were saying them all out loud, and my brother's wife was like, "What's Whole High? What does that mean?" I was like, "Well, it means you went the distance."
Nice.
I was like, go the distance, Whole High, that's what I'm trying to do.
And it adds up with your message.
Yeah, perfect. So then and then 5 minutes later, I came up with the logo, just sit there drawing it up, two H's, Whole High, with the flag in the middle. And then, it just kept posting and posting and posting, had some good, I think the first good video I had 40,000, views, and I was going crazy, just people bouncing off the wall. I think, the good, he commented on it in 2015 or something like that. I was like, this is all kinds of stuff way back in the day. If I look back at it, I didn't even realize who was commenting on it back then.
Yeah.
But just kept posting, showing people what I was doing, how I was doing it, and my love for the game just kept growing and growing and growing. I'd wake up every day, have a cup of coffee, watch the morning drive, watch the Golf Channel, and see what's going on in the world of golf, and I would be like, I'm gonna be on this one day. They're gonna be talking about me one day. Like I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna watch myself, like just because of who I felt as a unique individual on the golf course and what I can provide.
And you were.
It happened, yeah.
That's so cool.
So, and then I hosted my very first event back home. So it was just, a charitable event for Whole High, raised a bunch of money, donated it back to Shriners Children's Hospital because I was a patient of Shriners myself as a kid growing up. They made me prosthetics for baseball, and they actually made me one for golf, but I didn't like it. And, they made me a prosthetic arm and everything, like with a hand on it, but me growing up as a kid, I was like, I don't need something, like I can do it on my own, better off on my own, so I never really used it. But I still loved what Shriners is about, and I like, they help all these kids with disabilities and their families for free. So donated a bunch of money back, and then that's when I went to golf school. I was like, I'm gonna make this my life. I'm gonna go to the Golf Academy of America in Myrtle Beach. I'll keep posting, doing what I do, and it was all literally. I built Whole High was to help inspire others, but in reality, like in the backdrop of it, I was trying to make connections so that one of these companies would take me under their wing and help perfect my clubs, because I still felt that my skill level and my equipment weren't matching, and I was held back.
Yeah, and how did you find the right clubs for you? Like, did you always know you needed longer clubs, or like?
I built them myself.
So how did you come to that conclusion? Like, how did you know, like, okay, this is the perfect length?
I was about 16 years old, and my uncle, and I was like, I'm trying to play golf again, and he was like, well, how did you play when you were a kid? And I was like, well, the club was so big, I naturally tucked under my arm. And he was like, well, what if we just made them bigger and you could swing the same way? And I remember I was literally in his kitchen, and there was like a broom right next to me, and I grabbed the broom and I tucked it underneath my arm, and I was like, it should be like this. And he was like, wait a minute, hang on, and he just grabbed a tape measure, measured it from the base of like back behind here to the floor.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, it's like, I don't know, roughly 56 inches, like something like that. The next time I came over to his house, he had some prototypes like waiting for me.
Wow.
It was a driver, a putter, and like a pitching wedge, maybe a 7-iron too. Right to the range, and just immediately fell in love. And just like, I'm not gonna say downhill from there. I'm gonna say it was uphill from there.
Yeah,
because,
for sure.
It's just, it allowed me to get out there with my friends and my family.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of my grandfather, who had passed by then, but like, it made me feel connected to him, because my biggest memories of him as a kid was visiting him down here in Hollywood and playing golf. And I think about that a lot when I'm out there and I'm in these tournaments, and how far I've come, how far adaptive golf has come. But like, I just got back from London, where I was, representing the USA, and before I hit the opening ceremony tee shot.
Wow.
And right there before that, I look up at him and I'm like, thanks, if it wasn't for you, you
That's
never
awesome.
know. And then obviously my uncle as well, because he was the one that helped me build the clubs. I would never be here. I'd never done all of that I've done if it wasn't for him building me the clubs. But the game of golf, man, it does so much for you.
It really does. Yeah. And what role do you feel like you play in the adaptive golf organization? Now, you said you were an ambassador, and do you feel like you have a leadership role and as one of the best players on that tour?
So I'm definitely one of the best players when it comes to multiple arm amputee. They break it down into different classifications and this, that, and the other, but there's so many great players, all the leg guys and stuff that are missing amputees of the leg. For me, it's about making it look cool. It's about showing the talent. It's about showing how legit these players are, and how what we've overcome and how we do it, just because of our love for the game, how deep that love for the game goes. And I do at times feel like a leader, just because even these tournaments that I go to, that I compete in, people thank me sometimes. They're like, hey man, thank you for spreading the word, thanks for getting adaptive golf out there. And it needs to be more. It can't just be me. There's so many incredible stories and so many amazing athletes that are out here grinding and putting in the work to go to these tournaments. And the tournaments aren't televised. They aren't anything. There's so much magic to be seen that hasn't been seen yet. So I try to put that message out there, show what I'm doing, and then just have fun with it. It's a beautiful world, and golf is a beautiful game, and they go hand in hand together. And it's just about getting out there.
Yeah, no, totally. And I'm willing to help all that I can for that, because that's something that I'm just taking so inspired by. And it just seems to me that you guys are just showing joy regardless of whatever you guys have.
Yeah.
And you touched on something that was super cool, like just you being unique. And like a lot of people, I feel like in the world are scared to be themselves because they want to be normal. And I see people like you that are like far from normal,
Yeah.
and just embrace it so much.
Yeah.
It's like that's the inspiration that people and
I know what
take
the king
from
said, right? You know what the king said.
What do you say?
Swing your swing.
Swing your swing, own your swing.
Own your swing. Swing
Absolutely.
your swing. You're walking in your own shoes every day. You wake up, you're your own person. You be whoever you want to be. I mean, it's 2022. The world is hectic these days. This, that, the other. There's so many wrong things going on in the world. Wake up, do good, be good. Just stick to yourself.
Yeah. And what would you have to say to those people back home that are in a difficult situation, have trouble embracing who they are?
Yeah.
Like, what has helped you really like overcome that the most? And like, what do you think can help those at home really overcome that?
It's really just surround yourself by your loved ones and people who hopefully you have a somewhat of a team that can support you and help you out. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need help. I think that's something that a lot of people they're afraid to ask for help. You know what I mean? They're ashamed that they can't do something or this or the other. And there's plenty of times where, in my entire life, I'm proving to myself that I can do it, but, ask for help. Unfortunately, there's plenty of people out there that don't have any help. But it's stay patient. I live by my motto is Hakuna Matata, and, for everything bad that happens, it's just, you can't let it get to you. You just have to stay positive, live life like one day at a time. No matter what happens, it's no worries. Hakuna Matata, just like let it go. Everything's gonna be okay. I'm not a very religious person, to be honest with you, but I do believe one of the biggest and one of my favorite sayings is that God gives his toughest battles to his strongest warriors. And if you're going through some things, that's because
you're a freaking warrior.
You're a warrior.
Yeah.
That's the challenge that was set out ahead of you, and it might take some time. It might seem really messed up at the time, because bad things happen to great people, to good people, and but you just got
it forms your character.
It builds who you are. Don't let it get to you. There's been so many times where I thought it was get to me. Every night you lie in bed and you're in your thoughts of who am I? What am I doing? Is it worth it? And you might go a little while without seeing any progression or anything to show for it.
Yeah.
But it's happening, whether you know it or you can see it or not. You just have to continue to do what you're doing and take the steps to where you want to be
and trust the process.
Trust the process.
Yeah, totally, dude. I think that's so important to just really release and trust, because a lot of people think they should be the ones actually controlling their life, but it's really the more you let go of control, the more control you actually have.
Yeah.
That's my motto. It's really always been I try to set the intention of where I want my life to be heading, but then, I can't try to make anything happen. It just never works for me. And I truly believe that, like you said, also being in uncomfortable situations, putting yourself in tough times so you can build your character.
Breaking out of your comfort zone.
Purposely doing it. Not only life did it to you, but also putting yourself out there and being in that uncomfortable situation so you can constantly transform, constantly be a better version of yourself, because the more you are a better version of yourself, the more you're being a vehicle for others to be a better version of themselves.
I like that.
The whole mission.
Yeah.
It's about the people. And I know you're all about the people.
I am all about the people, man.
Yeah.
It's just about, I try to persone just a positive lifestyle in general. It's doing what you love. I love the game of golf, so that's what I'm going to represent, and that's what you're going to see. But it's about being positive. It's about being a good person, respectful to the golf course, to your peers, to your parents, to everybody. Treat everybody the same. I'm not very political. I'm not very religious. I play golf. I go about my business, and I don't do drama. So
You live, love, and laugh. That's what it's all about.
It's just this life is too short, and you're only given one. So you can't let the little things get in the way. you can't think about what you don't have as opposed to what you do have. I think that's a big thing of why a lot of people are unhappy in their lives, is because they can't actually see what amazing things they do have. And I'm guilty of that. I mean, I work at one of the nicest golf court, resorts in the country, in the world, and I get to play for free whenever I get the chance to, and meet amazing people and play with models and this, that, the other, and all kinds of stuff, and it's absolutely incredible. And yet at the end of the day, I go home and I'm like, oh man, I wish I had this. Oh man, I wish I had that. I wish I was doing this.
And I mean,
it's toxic, but everybody does it.
I mean, I don't even think that's definitely, like, it's not a bad thing, because you want to be grateful for what you have, but never satisfied.
Exactly.
That's the way I see it. And, like, I'm always grateful, but, like, it's like, what's next? You know, like,
100%.
because at the end of the day, if you really want to make the biggest impact in the world, and you have a mission, like, never satisfied.
Yeah.
There's always
You gotta strive for more.
one more person to help.
Absolutely.
There's 9 billion people in here.
Yeah.
Many more in many other galaxies.
On the way.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't want to get into that.
Yeah, that's another
That's
rabbit hole.
another, yeah.
It's for another podcast.
For sure.
But Brandon, thanks so much for being on the show, and I appreciate you, bro. You're such an inspiration to me and to everybody else watching this. I know it.
Thanks, bro. It's the first of many to come, so
For sure.
get used to it.
Oh yeah, big things coming.
Yes, sir.
Alright, see you guys. Thanks for watching this episode.
I appreciate every one of you guys for staying until the end of this video. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel, leave a like, and follow me on Instagram at fadethepublic_pod. I'll see you in the next one.